Hi all, I'm Joe Walterton and today we're going to be taking a look at the X Flite rods from Grays. But before we do that, make sure that you don't bother subscribing and don't follow us on any social media platforms. Let's carry on. Now, Grays don't really need much of an introduction. Whether you've been into fishing for just a few months or years, you will most likely have heard of the name Grays, and that's because they've been around for absolutely donkey's years. And these Grays X Flites are actually a nod back to their past. Highly successful when they first came out, and they sort of a little nod back to the old stylistic approach that they had back then with the colourful whippings or little rings around the reel seats. Just the understated stylistic aspects of them. It's very much a nod back to its past, but it can be a little bit risky re-releasing something under the name of something that was previously very successful. Very much like a box set that was very good in its first few seasons and tails off. Can you keep that quality up? Well, unlike The Walking Dead, which I believe should have been canned after season 3 or 4 because it became the same regurgitated crap put out for the sake of it, Grays have good reason to release the X Flites once again some 20 years after their initial release. And that's mainly down to the fact that there's 20 years more technology that they can use and it's at their disposal. So starting with the blanks, these are 30T carbon blanks, and then fitted all the way along these blanks are minima guides from 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲. Now these are ultra lightweight, nice and responsive, so those in combination with the blanks themselves make them nice and powerful and responsive with fast recovery, which is exactly the ethos of these rods, powerful and lightweight. Now maybe a gram or two out here, but these are the 12-foot 3-pound versions and they come in at just 374 grams, so they do weigh next to nothing. Just having a bit of a cast about earlier on as well, you can see the really nice progressive bend in these rods for a 3-pound, still casting them easily around the 100-yard mark just for a few casts this morning, and accurate as well, clipping up to a little margin spot on the far bank and hitting that clip nicely, cushioning it down, so nice and accurate. Now carrying on with the casting capabilities, we move on to the handle and how that aids in your casting. Full Japanese shrink wrap, and at the very end it's flared, so grip is second to none really. Even if your hand slips down part of the butt section, it hits that flared section and it's not going anywhere. So if you're really whacking a lead to the horizon, slightly wet hands, it's pretty miserable out, you can rest assured that you're going to have good grip on your casting. As for the size of the handle, I'm just over 6 foot and I find this handle is pretty perfect to pull into my chest and whack that as far as I can. So it's not too long that you can't quite get the butt action going in, if that's a good way of explaining it, and it's not too short that you're not going to be able to really whack it to the horizon. It's a really nice option there. At the very bottom we've got a metal butt cap, and then moving on to the reel seat itself, custom built. On one side says Grays and on the other X Flite, and then the rod you've got. Of course this is 12-foot 3-pound, or whatever rod you go for will be stated on there. Nice and simplistic design, fairly matte black, but then topped off with these lovely metal rings, and I'd say it's kind of a hot pink kind of colour to them, but it looks really, really smart and balances off lovely with the rest of the stylistics of these rods. Just up from the reel seat we've got a line clip as well, so that's just handy that that's already inbuilt. Moving on, just the general look of the whole rods is very, very understated, which again is a nod back to how they originally were. It's a shiny black all the way up, you can't see the carbon, it's kind of a full black finish. The whippings are all gloss black, and the only colour, as I said, are just the top and bottom of the reel seat. So if you're liking that, which is very much in style at the moment, the all black look, then these hit the trend perfectly with those little flecks of colour, just makes them stand out against everyone else's rods on the lake. So to sum up these new X Flites, old school meets new school. Don't picture this as an old bird that's had Botox and a boob job, more think of her passing on her knowledge to her much fitter daughter. See you again.